Our headlines today. A drought is expected to be declared in many parts of England, meaning stricter controls over the use of water.
Yorkshire Water is the latest firm to announce it's introducing a hosepipe ban, whilst restrictions come into effect today across Kent and Sussex.
Good morning, and I'm in West Sussex this morning, one of those areas waking up to the hosepipe ban. It is looking dry and barren here, as it is across much of the country, and with more hot and dry weather in the forecast. I'll bring you all the weather details coming up shortly.
Which reports that the drought conditions affecting the country may be here to stay for months to come. Meanwhile, The Guardian says ministers are considering even tougher restrictions than hosepipe bans to tackle the water crisis.
And the decision by ministers on whether to declare an official drought is on the front page of The Guardian, which reports that this is the driest 9 months since the heatwaves of 1976. The picture is of a firefighter tackling a grass fire in Leytonstone, East London, yesterday afternoon.
Farmers are also having it tough. Fires have broken out, destroying crops and machinery.
The fire brigade just turned up, so I think we should be all right.
Yep.
And this grassland fire was sparked by a discarded bottle. The fire service is ready to respond to more of that over the next few days, as temperatures won't quite break records again, but will get close. Dan Johnson, BBC News.
OK, so it's going to become a familiar issue when we look at hosepipe bans and potential drought orders. Let's get more with Sarah, who's in West Sussex this morning. One of those areas which will see a hosepipe ban, which has been introduced today. Sarah, looking behind you, I mean, it's not unexpected, is it?
It's not. Good morning to you, Naga, and Charlie. Good morning to you at home as well. Yes, things are looking exceptionally dry. I'm at Westdean Gardens here in West Sussex, where it's a beautiful scene behind me, but very, very barren. The sheep here are grazing, and they're just trying to find a little bit of moisture, a little bit of green grass out there as well. So really similar scenes to this across much of the country. And how did we get into this situation? Well, it has, of course, been very dry so far this summer. Across much of the country, July was the driest on record, but it's not just been the summer. In fact, cast your minds right back towards the start of the year, and the period from January to June has been the driest first half of the year since 1976. So we've had exceptionally dry weather across much of the UK. And as our climate warms, scientists do say that periods of heat like this, heat waves and drought conditions, are going to become more frequent and more intense as well. So we're on day 2 at the moment of that 4-day amber extreme heat warning. We are likely to see impacts to transport, infrastructure, as well as ill health as well due to the heat. We're expecting temperatures perhaps as high as 36 today, 37 degrees tomorrow, and no rain in the forecast over the next few days.
Sarah is in West Sussex for us this morning. Morning, Sarah.
Good morning to you, Charlie and Naga. Good morning to you at home too. I'm at Westdean Gardens this morning, and I've been talking to the head gardener here about just how dry it's been and how they're trying to conserve water. So you can see the grass around me is certainly parched, it's barren and dry. They've been really trying not to water as much as possible, but only really using any water for essential and targeted reasons here. So for example, if you've got any very young trees at home, a little bit like these hazel trees here, they do need a little bit of water, and the head gardener Tom was telling me that you can actually use grey water, so your old bath water, 2 or 3 bucket loads a week on very new plants like this, just to help establish them. They don't have those deep roots like the more established trees as well. So you don't need to water more established and older trees, but young plants do need a little bit of grey water is fine, just a few buckets a week. So, of course, we are on day 2 of the 4-day amber extreme heat warning that's valid across much of England and Wales too.
Gorgeous background, Hannah. I'm hoping, but I'm not sure, that the economic figures will reflect that.
Unfortunately, they don't, Naga. Good morning from Lake Windermere. It is beautiful, but the picture that these figures paint is far from it. The UK economy is shrinking, according to these figures, which have just been released in the last few minutes. GDP fell in the 3 months between April and June by 0.1%. That comes in a context of rising inflation, which means that effectively we all have less money to spend. Businesses have less money to invest.
Are you going for a dip shortly yourself? Will you be going in?
Yeah, I go in the sea most days, so yeah, absolutely. We're really blessed to live here in Cornwall. Fantastic beaches everywhere here in the Newquay area, and yeah, as a local now, we like to make use of what we have right on our doorsteps.
Wow, that's a very good message. Lewis, thank you very much. And that's the shot you can see with the drone over the top of the cliffs there. Looks absolutely spectacular, doesn't it?
I don't actually think I've seen anything more beautiful this morning. Isn't it wonderful?
We're all slightly envious because what a setting. What a place to have a festival.
I'm very lucky to live here. I'm very, very lucky to live here, and to have one of the best music festivals in the UK just on our doorstep, don't really get much better than that, does it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually got our drone up above where you are, I think, just looking at the waves coming in there.
We've got a double kayak, so we love launching that off Trevornance Cove and going up and down the beautiful cliffs. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the sea. You've got to be careful, but I'm a big fan of the sea.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that's worth saying, because we can see, I mean, you probably know the water fairly well. I'm not sure, how would you assess the waves today for the surfers, and for those people who are getting down there just to swim as well? What does it look like to you?
They're okay. I've seen bigger waves in Newquay, I've got to be honest. I think for some of the pro surfers, they might be a little bit small, but the absolute skills that they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they make them look like the world's greatest waves. The weather is absolutely beautiful today. I just hope that people maybe sink a couple pints of water in between their pints of whatever else they're drinking.
Wise words. Look, thank you. Lovely to speak to you. Nice to catch up with you, Sam. Have a great day today, and yeah, look at those images.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Wish you were here. Cheers.
Well, we are blessed this morning. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the shots of Windermere this morning?
No, you were
talking
about
it.
it
Absolutely
earlier.
stunning. I mean, the reason all of these things are done at the moment, isn't it? There's a sort of backdrop. We're talking about the drought. We're talking about the economy. We're talking about all these things which are kind of linked and big events.
I think it's fair to say to problematic weather for many parts of the UK, particularly in the south of England and in Wales. Now, Sarah is in West Sussex, in the southeast, and you're taking a look. I mean, it looks, you've got flowers at least, but so many parched gardens around in that part of the country. Hi, Sarah.
Hi there. Yes, Naga, we've been looking, haven't we, at all the parched ground, the brown grass around as well. So down here at Westdean Gardens in West Sussex, I've managed to find you a little bit of colour, and we've come down to the dry meadow here. So this is a garden that's specifically planted to be drought resistant, to be really tolerant to conditions like we're seeing this summer. And if you think about drought resistant plants, you might think, oh, cactuses and things like that, but actually there's loads of colour. Lots of these plants would originate in places like South Africa or North America, where the climate is much drier and hotter than we're used to seeing here. But of course, many of our gardens and of course our farmland not coping quite this well with this prolonged spell of dry and very hot weather too. And we are on day 2 of that 4-day amber extreme heat warning that's been issued by the Met Office. So this heat wave then, not quite as hot, not the record-breaking temperatures that we had back in July, but it's the prolonged nature of this current heat wave that is causing a few problems. It's looking hot, it's looking dry over the next few days. Do take care out there in the heat. We are hopeful that it'll be a little bit cooler with a bit of a higher chance of rain as we head through next week. Back to you both.
Beautiful blue skies. Quite sad, parched ground, something that definitely people in the south of England, in Wales, are experiencing.
Yes, absolutely. Good morning to you, Naga and Charlie. Scenes like this very familiar, aren't they, up and down the country, particularly for central and southern England and parts of Wales. It's parched, it's dry. It's barely rained here for the past 6 weeks or so, and there is more dry weather in the forecast as well, certainly over the next few days. Not just dry, but of course hot as well. The current heat wave that we're seeing set to peak over the next couple of days as those temperatures rise up into the mid-30s for many of us, high 30s for some in the south and the east as well. So we've got high pressure that's keeping things dry at the moment. Just a weather front sitting to the far north of Scotland, bringing a bit of light rain there. We're hopeful there could be some low pressure developing to the south and bringing a bit of rain from Sunday night onwards. But we've got that amber extreme heat warning across much of central and southern England into East Wales. Could be several problems, heat-related illnesses and disruption to travel and infrastructure as well. So heading through the rest of today then, no great change to what we've got now. Lots of blue sky and sunshine, bit of low cloud around the North Sea coasts at times and in the far northwest as well. But temperatures for most of us ranging between the mid-20s in the north to the mid-30s in the south. 35, possibly 36 degrees today in the hottest spots. Clear skies through this evening and overnight too. It's the peak of the Perseids meteor shower, so you may well see some shooting stars, but also close to the full moon, so quite a lot of light out there as well. Now overnight temperatures down to between around about 11 to 18 degrees, so fairly uncomfortable for sleeping, particularly towards the south, hotter than it was overnight earlier in the week. But tomorrow morning then we start very similar to today, blue sky and sunshine almost across the board, the odd misty patch around some North Sea coasts and a bit more low cloud in the far north of Scotland. But temperatures tomorrow probably a few degrees hotter than today, so we're expecting the hottest parts at around 37 Celsius, that's 99 Fahrenheit, but widely in the mid to high 20s in the north and well into the 30s towards the south too. By the time we get to Sunday, subtle changes, perhaps a few showers into Northern Ireland and Scotland, and one or two may work into the far south later in the day. But before they do, it's going to be another hot day, again with temperatures peaking at around 36 or 37 degrees in the hottest spots. We are hopeful that something a little bit cooler is on the way into next week, and we really need the rain, don't we? We're hopeful that we could well see some of that, but not everywhere. Some heavy showers and some thunderstorms into next week.